जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय 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 जय राम श्री राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम जय जय राम सियावर रामचंद्र की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Bharatji is getting ready to go from Bharadwaj Rishi's ashram to Chitrakoot. When he starts his journey, Indra Bhagwan feels insecure. In entire Ramcharitmanas, one thing is very consistent, that Goswamiji doesn't like Indra Bhagwan. He says so many things about him. Indra Bhagwan tells his guru, Brahaspati ji, just like we twisted Manthara's mind, let us do something to twist Bharatji's mind, such that they don't meet, Bhagwan Rama should not meet Bharatji. Brahaspati ji scolds Indra Bhagwan. He says, devotee never walks alone. If you do anything for a bhakta, anything to a bhakta, it is as though you are challenging the Lord. See, many stotram that we chant, it is called as kavacham. Shri Rama Raksha Kavacham. Then you have Shiva Kavacham, Vishnu Kavacham, different kavacham. Kavacham means what? Shield. The one who has ripened devotion, that sadhaka develops a shield around his mind. Nothing from the external world can come and harm. Brahaspati ji also tells Indra Bhagwan, if you try to use any maya on Bharatji, it will bounce back. Anything you try to do, it will come back on you, so don't even think about it. It is said Indra Bhagwan has 1,000 eyes. And Brahaspati ji tells him, with 1,000 eyes also you are unable to see. Then there are some very nice pointers about how God treats his devotees. He says, in general, Bhagwan is equanimous. He doesn't take sides. He doesn't distribute or shower grace randomly upon people. These people I like, those people I don't like, I will shower my grace here, not there. He doesn't do that. But towards the one who is surrendered to Bhagwan, Brahaspati ji says, Bhagwan is very partial. Whoever comes closer to the Lord, that person receives greater amount of grace and blessings from the Lord. Now, how will you explain both? That Bhagwan is equanimous also and he is partial also towards those who come to him. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji gives one example. He says, if there is a fire which is lit up and the weather is very cold, you are shivering. There are two people, one who stays farther away from the fire keeps on shivering, and second person who comes closer to the fire and the fire's warmth removes his shivering. The second person, or the first person who was further away, he is always crying and complaining that the fire is partial. It removed the shivering of the other person, not mine. Is that a fair complaint? No, because the one whose shivering was removed took a conscious step to go closer to the fire. And the nature of fire is such, it will give warmth. Similarly, Bhagwan's nature is such that he will give us peace, joy, security. So the one who strives to seek the Lord, remember the Lord, do some sadhana to attain Bhagwan. Lot of samsara, represented by that shivering, is removed from their life. Bhagwan says, I am here. Whoever wants to come near can benefit from my grace. So Brihaspati ji mentions this, that God is not same to everybody. Towards devotees, he showers his special blessings. So don't try to do anything to Bharat ji. Same statement Bhagwan Krishna makes to Sanjaya. It is said on the first day of the war, before the war began, day 0, Duryodhana sends Sanjaya to Arjuna's camp. And whatever things Arjuna says in first chapter, Duryodhana says, go and tell all these things to Arjuna. That why are you waging this war? We can just sign a peace treaty. You just give us the kingdom, or you don't demand the kingdom, everything will be fine. And when Sanjaya comes, the first person he meets is Bhagwan Krishna. Bhagwan was right at the front of that palace. Of course, no palace there, right? Kurukshetra, camp. They were camping somewhere. And Bhagwan Krishna tells Sanjaya, go and tell Duryodhana, Arjuna has chosen me. Whoever wages a battle against Arjuna has to fight against me. Because Bhagwan and Bhakta, he says, are not two people. That Bhakta who has surrendered to me, I am one with that Bhakta. So Brihaspati ji says that Bharat ji is not alone, he walks with the Lord. Then finally he is convinced, our Indra Bhagwan, and he changes his plan. He doesn't want to do anything. Now there are very beautiful chaupais. Goswamiji writes, when Bharatji was walking, he was chanting Ram Nam. And after every Nama, he would take a deep breath. And whenever he would release the breath, it would appear as though there is an ocean of devotion, waves of devotion in the whole surrounding. And the stones which were there, it would appear as though they will melt any moment. With that intensity of devotion that Bharatji had, the way in which he was taking Ram Nama. And that's why Indra Bhagavan was scared. He said, if stone can melt, how much time will it take for Bhagavan Rama to melt? Who is most compassionate, he will do whatever Bharatji tells him. So all of them are continuing the journey, and there are many ups and downs. Means the terrain is very hilly. Goswamiji describes that journey. He says, if there is milky ocean which is getting churned with Mount Meru and nectar which is coming out of it, he says that nectar is Bharatji's love for Bhagavan. And what is the churning rod? The pangs of separation that he has in his heart for Bhagavan, that is the churning rod. Who is churning this ocean? He says Bhagavan Rama himself is churning the ocean. And Bharatji's heart is that milky ocean. With that kind of single pointedness, they reach the foothills of those mountains. So from the base they are able to see the mountain now. That mountain is called Kamadagiri mountain in Chitrakoot, where Bhagwan is staying. So when they reached Prayagraj, they said, Siyavara Ramachandra ki jai. When they reach here, they say, Janaki Jivana Rama ki jai. You must have heard several bhajans with this. Janaki Jivana Ram, Bhakta Vatsala Ram, Janaki Jivana Ram. Nishad Raj, who is along with them, he is able to see. And he tells Bharatji, I can see the hut of Bhagwan Rama. There are many trees around it. Tulsi plant is there. Some of them have been planted by Sita ji. Some of them have been planted by Lakshman ji. All of them do Dandavat Pranam. Now while they are doing Pranam, let's leave them there for some time. Let's shift the camera to Bhagwan Rama. What is happening there? It's morning time, they have reached. Sita ji wakes up and she says, Bhagwan, I saw a very disturbed dream. And something is there which tells me that everything is not fine in Ayodhya. Because I saw my mother-in-laws in my dream and they looked very different. So that is telling me that there is something which is not right. And while she is narrating this, Bhagwan feels little worried. And while she is narrating and Bhagwan is talking to Lakshman ji, they continue with their morning routine. They do their puja and everything. They see a cloud of dust rising. Because Bharat ji is coming with Chaturangini Sena. Elephants are walking, horses are walking. And by that time, two messengers come and say, Bharat ji has come. So Lakshman ji looks at that dust coming from, or the cloud of dust which is rising. He looks at Bhagwan, who is little worried. And he hears the statement, Bharat ji has come. He puts all three together. And he says, Bharat ji has come to wage a war with Bhagwan Rama. That he didn't want any obstacle in his kingship. That is why he has come. And he tells Bhagwan, Bhagwan, you don't have to be worried. Are you worried because it is just both of us and there is this huge army of Ayodhya? He says, my power is so much, single-handedly I can take care of them. And Lakshman ji, who was such a great devotee of Bhagwan, he says so many negative things about Bharat ji. But thing to note here is, it is not about what he tells about Bharat ji. It is an expression of how much he loves Bhagwan Rama. Negative things means what he says. Right from childhood, we have tried to treat him like the little boy. He says, when we would play a game, Bhagwan Rama would always say, Bharat ji, you are in the opposite team. So Bharat ji and Shatrugna ji one team, Bhagwan Rama, Lakshman ji another team. And Bhagwan would make sure that Bharat ji wins. And he says he has gotten used to it. That he would go and tell everybody that he won. Now is the time to put our foot down. We should fight with him. And he gives an example. Dust is very humble. It always stays on the ground. But if you kick the dust, it will come and sit in your eyes. He says, like that, we have been very forgiving of Bharat ji. Now is the time we have to put our foot down. Now, having said all this, one Akashvani happens from the sky. Prompted by Bhagwan only, one voice comes. And it says, any action which is done in haste very likely makes us regret. So Lakshman ji, don't form such opinions about Bharat ji without asking the Lord. On your own, don't form such opinions. Then he looks at Bhagwan, and Bhagwan in his sign language tells him, your feeling is in the right place. Means I accept the love that you have towards me. Anybody can become corrupt with power, but not Bharatji. This power is something which can corrupt anybody, particularly those who have not done satsang. He says Bharatji is somebody, even in dream, power cannot get into his head. He gives an example. If there is one glass of milk, one drop of lemon can spoil the milk. But if there is a milky ocean, and even if you squeeze one full lemon, nothing will happen to that milky ocean. What is that lemon? Throne of Ayodhya. Power, position which comes with kingship of Ayodhya. Milky ocean is the devotion of Bharatji. He says this Rajapada will not bring Rajamada. Mada means pride. The throne of Ayodhya has nothing to do with Bharatji. Means he has no importance for it. And Bhagwan praises Bharatji so much confidence he has in Bharatji. In this entire portion, one thing to appreciate is how to manage anger. Lakshmanji's example is the best one. He gets angry, but whenever Bhagwan tells him to stop, he is able to overcome his anger also. So there are two types of sadhana, two stages in our sadhana. One stage is perfected stage, where a person never gets angry. Second stage is one might get angry, but he knows how to overcome it. So somebody should be there, either somebody whom we revere and we take advice from them, or our own intellect which has the right values. That intellect telling the mind, now you quieten down. If not the first one, at least second one. If you are able to practice, quieten anger in the right time, in the right way. That is a great sadhana. You must have seen in some kitchens in our mission center, there are quotes by Gurudev on kitchen Vedanta. For idli batter he says, just like the batter needs the warmth of your body to start the fermentation. Otherwise the idlis will turn hard. He says every work needs our love and devotion to God. Otherwise that work becomes harsh. And for anger he says, if a milk is boiling, unless we know the art of turning off the flame at the right time, it will spill over. Sometimes Graha Pravesha day, if it spills over, it's okay. One sadhaka was telling, in our home, every day is Graha Pravesha. This milk keeps spilling. He says just that milk has to be turned off at the right time. Anger has to be controlled at the right time. The same thing we teach children through the story of Trunavarta. Bhagwan Krishna, several demons he finishes. One of the demon was Trunavarta. Trunavarta means what? Who comes as a cyclone. The cyclone, the thing is, if you enter it, where you will come out doesn't depend upon you. Let's say blade of grass enters a storm or a cyclone. Where it wants to come out, it cannot decide. Cyclone will decide. That Trunavarta represents anger or repetitive thoughts. If we save ourselves when that storm is weak, we can be saved. But if we enter that storm and allow the mind to become powerful, where it will take us is not in our hands. So Bhagavan Krishna says, one of the greatest tapasya is to control our mind and speech. And in Ramcharitmanas Goswamiji writes, anger increases if we allow our speech to be unchecked. Mind goes out of control when speech is out of control. Vacho Devata Vahni Tattva Bodha we read. Presiding deity of speech. One is Saraswati Devi, but in traditional text it is given as Agni Devata. Haven't you heard the phrase? That was a fiery speech. Where did that fire come from? Must be Devata only. Now that fire is double-edged sword. It can give warmth, but if not handled properly, it can burn things down also. Just like fire can do both, speech also can do both. So Lakshmanji demonstrates what is our sadhana here. Whenever we get angry, first check is on speech. Second check is on mind. And if Bhagavan tells him, quieten down, very quickly he quietens down. Now, all of them are still doing pranams at the bottom of that mountain. Slowly they start walking up. And they see thick trees, foliage which is covering the kutir of Bhagavan, the hut of Bhagavan. And Bharatji doesn't have the courage to come from the main door. He comes from behind. So he is able to see Bhagavan, but Bhagavan is not able to see him. Let us see that portion where he is coming to meet Bhagavan, 239 Doha. This you can repeat the lyrics. Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Vasat Manjuli Mandali, Vasat Manjuli Mandali, Madhyasiya Raghuchandu, Madhyasiya Raghuchandu, Jnana Sabhajanu Tanu Dhare, Bhagati Satchidananda. Sanuj Sakha Sameta Madana Visare Harsha Sukha Sukha Dukha Gane Pahi Nath Kahi Pahi Gosai Bhutala Pare Rakta Ki Nai Vachana Same Phalakana Pahichane Bharata Pranam Bharata Jiya Jane Bandhu Saneha Sarasai Dihora सब जोड़ा बिन जाय नहीं उदरत बनई सुख विलखन मन की रति बनई रहे नाथ सेवा पर भारो चढ़े जिन्म जनु के चढ़ारो कहत सप्रेम नाहि महिमा भरत प्रणाम करत रघुनाथ उठे राम सुनि प्रेम अधीरा कहु पट कहु निशंक धनु धीरा बर बसली उठाई लाई कृपा निधान भरत राम की मिलनी रखी विसरे सब विसरे सकल सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Bharat ji sees Bhagwan sitting in his kutir and Lakshman ji is slightly bent and Bhagwan is telling something to Lakshman ji. Sita ji is seated next to him. How do both of them look? Lasata manju muni mandali madhya siya raghuchandu. In this sabha of different rishi munis who are there, if pure consciousness, Satchidananda Brahma, were to take a physical form and Bhakti Mata, devotion, would take a physical form, like that they are seated. Bhagwan Rama is Satchidananda Brahma and Sita ji is pure devotion. Sanuja Sakha Sameta Maganamana, along with Shatrugna ji, Bharat ji and all other Ayodhya Vasis who are there, their mind just gets absorbed in this appreciation that they have finally come to meet Bhagwan. He is not far anymore, we are right there. Bisare harasha soka sukha dukha gana. They forgot their sorrows, they forgot joy, means their mind became still. That is the power of presence of the Lord. That wavering mind becomes still. Now Bharat ji, he walked all the way from Bharadwaj Rishi's ashram to Chitrakoot. But his legs are so weak, he cannot put one more step. Bhutala pare lakutiki nai. Lakutiki nai means, they say dandavat pranam. Danda means a stick. If you keep a stick like this and just tap it, how it falls? It will just fall. It will not see how hard is the ground, how it is falling. Like a stick falls, like that Bharatji fell, did his pranam. And he said, Pahi nata kahi pahi gosai. O Lord, protect me, you are my savior. Bachana samepa lakhana pahichane. Bhagwan has not seen him yet. Lakshmanji heard him and recognized him. Karata pranama Bharata jiye jane. In his heart he understood, Bharatji has come and he is doing pranam. Now Lakshmanji is torn between two sides. Bandhu saneha sarasa ehi ora. On one hand, he has extreme love for Bharatji. And he is feeling guilty also. He had so much of misunderstanding towards such a great devotee. And on the other hand, he has Seva Dharma. Bhagwan is sitting in front. He cannot suddenly go and embrace Bharatji. Uta Sahiba Seva Basajora. On one hand is his love, another hand is his Seva to Bhagwan Rama. Milayna Jayina Gudarat Banai. He cannot run and embrace Bharatji, nor can he just stay there, because his heart is pulling towards him. Sukabhi Lakhana Manaki Gati Bhanai. The mind of Lakshmanji, even the most expert poet cannot describe what is going on in his mind. Rahe Raki Seva Bharabharu. Finally he decides, my Seva to Bhagwan Rama is more important than anything else. But he has to say something. He was controlling himself, but he ended up saying this. Kahata saprema nai mahimata bharata pranama karata raghunatha. He says, "O Bhagwan, Bharatji is doing pranam." Only this much he says. Now Bharata, 3 letters are there. The moment Bhagwan hears this, he rushes towards Bharatji in such a way that his Angavastram falls off, his quiver falls off, his bow falls away, and arrow falls away. It is like this, If you have this piece of cloth, if I move my hand like this, cloth goes with the hand. But if I move it like this, cloth remains there. Means Bhagwan's love for Bharatji was such, when he went to embrace Bharatji, nobody knew. And Goswamiji writes, Bhagwan is Dharmaraja, means one who follows Dharma Maryada. He is very alert about how he walks, how he talks, what he does. But the moment he had Bha, Ra, Ta, by the time this word was complete, he was already with Bharatji. Barabasali uthai ura. He lifts Bharatji and embraces him. Laye krupani dhana. Bharata Rama ki milani lakhi. Bisare sabahi apana. This meeting of Bharatji and Bhagwan Rama, just looking at that, everybody forgot their deha. Everybody forgot I and mine. No matter how much we struggle with logic, it is very difficult to cross over this aham and mama. That which is so difficult can be crossed over like a very small puddle created by a cow's hoof by a bhakta. If there is some water which is gathered in that cow's hoof puddle, how effortlessly you walk over it, like that a devotee can cross over deha abhimana, body identification, with that kind of devotion. Now this meeting of Bharatji and Bhagwan Rama, how long it went on, nobody knows. Goswamiji doesn't describe. He says, if I try to describe it, I'll be doing injustice to that meeting. Any metaphor I take, he says it is falling short. So let us just leave them there. He says, let us try to gain little bit of devotion that Bharatji had and feel that embrace of the Lord. I belong to Bhagwan, and Bhagwan feels this devotee belongs to me. That bhavana is a bhakta's bhavana. Now he says, the next meeting was of Bhagwan Rama with all the queens. Kausalya ji is there, Sumitra ji is there, Kaikeyi is also there. Out of these three mothers, Bhagwan meets Kaikeyi first. Prathama Rama bheti Kaikeyi, Sarala Subhaya Bhagati Mati Bheyi. He does pranams to Kaikeyi and tells her there was nothing wrong in whatever happened. Meeting Kaikeyi first is the ability of the Lord to forgive. See, there is one stage in our sadhana where we can forgive. Bhagwan's forgiveness is, he is even removing the guilt in Kaikeyi. That not only I have forgiven you, these things were meant to happen. So don't keep this guilt in your heart. In 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Krishna gives forgiveness as one of the life values, Jivan Mulya. And he translates it as Kshantihi para aparada praptau avikriya. Kshanti means forgiveness. What is forgiveness? Para aparadhau praptau. Even if somebody has wronged us, the ability to remain without too much of agitation. Ability to remain unagitated without having a revengeful attitude, in spite of knowing that somebody has wronged us. That is a great Jivan Mulya, life value, which a sadhaka strives to cultivate. Now this topic is so elaborate, 13th chapter when we discuss this, only on forgiveness we discussed for 1 hour. Because it's such a beautiful value. So many facets are there. We'll just try to touch upon some key points. One thing we have to understand is, forgiveness is not for others' sake. Forgiveness is for our sake. If we think we will hold on to revengeful attitude and live a happy life. One Mahatma Ji in one commentary he writes, it is like spreading a bed of thorns and hoping to sleep happily on that bed. Revengeful attitude and happiness is like wanting to have a good night's sleep on a bed of thorns. So this kshama, forgiveness, is for our own well-being. Lack of forgiveness, what does it do? Mind is constantly preoccupied. Our own goal we cannot go towards if our mind is occupied by some other trivial thing. This is true not only with individuals. If a nation has only revengeful agenda, look at the progress that nation makes, how much progress it can make. Because there is nothing creative. The only inspiration agenda will be stemming from revenge. So kshama, the first aspect of it is for our own shanti. If I have to progress further, I have to learn this art of forgiving. They say, right, some people are able to forgive and forget. Some are able to forgive but not forget. In one camp I had mentioned this, we were discussing, youngsters were there. One boy raised his hand and said, Sohamji, there is third category. You did not forgive, but it is so long that you forgot. So many things happen like that. But ideal is forgive and forget. Now, how do we cultivate this forgiveness? Wherever there is a feeling of oneness. Wherever there is feeling of love, it is relatively easy to forgive. Gurudev's quote, "When love becomes thin, faults become thick." So if I'm unable to forgive somebody, very likely love there has gone down. Think about this. Father got a new car, nicely kept it in his garage. And one day he finds one small scratch on the door. Finds one scratch. Gets very mad. One day I kept car outside and somebody scratched it. And while he is feeling agitated, shouting, wife comes and tells him, "Oh, this is our toddler. He was learning to walk, he scratched it. First time that he walked was near our car. While walking, he scratched. Now that scratch becomes a souvenir because he is my son." Imagine if that scratch was neighbor's child. Suddenly the mind shifts. So how is it that in first situation he was able to forgive so easily and otherwise we find it so difficult? Wherever we have sense of belongingness, wherever we feel love, there is ease of forgiveness. For a devotee, every single person is Bhagwan's child. I love Bhagwan, therefore I am able to love everybody. That is how a Bhakta thinks. On the strength of this, he is able to say, I am able to forgive. Because one who is behind the mask of that person is the same Lord. Some things I might like, some things I might not like. In both these things, it has my Bhagwan's prasada. So wherever there is love, forgiveness is relatively easy. Even here we will find there are different levels. One forgiveness is, mind never registers anything wrong has happened. Forgiveness of Bhagwan Rama. He did not feel hurt by Kaikeyi first, and now he is forgiving Kaikeyi. Right from the beginning, he never felt hurt. It is Siddha Purusha. But for us as sadhakas, what is our sadhana? Even if we have felt hurt, the rebound time, recovery time should be short. Means very quickly we can come back to our main goal and continue. With the same understanding, I am not doing this for somebody else. I am doing this for my own peace of mind so that I can go forward. That is this vritti of kshama. Okay, there are many things we can discuss. One more point I'll discuss and we'll move on. There is a very fine line between forgiveness and weakness, which should not be mixed up. Recent example, if a country attacks your country, and if the soldiers retaliate, that is not considered as himsa. Practicing forgiveness at that time would be adharma. So this forgiveness and weakness has a very fine line. We have to appreciate where it becomes a weakness. Means in the name of self-respect, one should not go to the extreme of revengeful attitude. But in the name of forgiveness, we should not sway to the extreme of weakness. If that clarity comes, then lot of things about Kshama will be able to appreciate. If there is a judge and a criminal is brought in front of him, can we say that the judge has to practice forgiveness? He has to do whatever it demands. Some things he might not like to do, but his dharma demands him to do. So Kshama has to be practiced more at sadhana level. We should not take it out of context or try to evaluate somebody else based on Kshama and other things. So now, from this point onwards, there are different meetings which take place. Because they have come for their main task. And when they see Bhagavan, everybody forgets why they came there. Finally, Vasishtha Maharshi reminds them, so who is going to talk now? Who is going to say what is the purpose? But in their heart they know, we should not put Bhagavan in a difficult situation. So neither Vasishtha Maharshi says it directly, nor Bharatji says it directly. So they come up with several options. Vasishtha Maharshi says, one option I will give. Bharatji and Shatrughnaji, you have to go in the forest. Let Bhagavan Rama, Sitaji, Lakshmanji come back. 14 years you have to be on exile. Let 3 of them come back to Ayodhya. Bharatji says, Vasishtha Maharshi, is this possible? I didn't know this was possible. Vasishtha Maharshi says, if you say okay, I will work with the Lord. I will convince him. Bharatji says, if you are able to convince him to come back, whole life I am willing to stay in the forest. 14 years is nothing. So they plan everything and they come to meet Bhagavan. Vasishtha Maharshi is supposed to speak. And he tells Bhagavan, remembering the love of Bharatji, I am unable to speak. Whatever solution we discussed, I am unable to present. My mind is as though taken away by his love. Then Bhagavan sends all of them back. They say, okay, you discuss and you come back. Then Bharatji presents 3-4 options. We can go for Vanavasa, or I can go, you send Lakshmanji back. Different options he gives. Bhagavan doesn't say anything. Right at that time, Janak Maharaj comes from Mithila. He also joins the discussion. And overnight, Kausalyaji calls Sunainaji. She says, I am more worried about Bharatji than Bhagavan Rama. If he has to stay alive, we have to make Bhagavan come back to Ayodhya. And Janak Maharaj has lot of respect. His words are authority. So when you go back to your tent, your camp, please convey my message to Janak Maharaj. Let him talk to Bhagavan Rama and let him convince him to come back to Ayodhya. Sunainaji recounts whatever Kausalyaji told her to Janak Maharaj when she comes back. Who is Sunainaji? Sitaji's mother, wife of Janak Maharaj. And she is recounting the glory of Bharatji, how much devotion he has. Janak Maharaj tells Phalashruti, whoever listens to Bharatji's Charitra, they will never fall in samsara. They will be untouched by samsara. This is the Phalashruti of listening to Bharatji's Charitra. Then finally they have several discussions. Then Bharatji is made to speak. Bharatji says, Bhagavan, there is no greater dharma of a sevaka than to follow instructions. So please tell me what I should do. Although Bhagavan had said, whatever Bharatji tells, I will do. Bharatji says, I will not put you in that situation. I'm already regretting having come here. Because when I go back to Ayodhya, what will I tell people? I sent Bhagwan from one forest to another forest. If I bring you back with me, I know I'll be making you go back on your words. So please tell me what I should do. Then Bhagwan gives him clear instructions. He says, our father is no more. But don't think he is not there. Vasishtha Maharshi is our father. So look upon him as the king and rule over Ayodhya. Your guru is your king. You are just taking care of the administration of Ayodhya. Shivaji Maharaj also, there is one famous story. From the fort of Sajjangad, he is looking down and he sees his guru, Samarth Ramdas ji, begging bhiksha. He goes to his guru and says, I am such a great king, my guru begging bhiksha doesn't look good. So I have decided my entire kingdom I am going to give you, so that you don't have to do anything, go anywhere. Samarth Ramdas says, good, give me. So he takes his kingdom and he says, now I give this kingdom back to you. Administer this kingdom as something which belongs to me. He said, this is Karma Yoga. Whatever is there belongs to the Lord. We are the trustees of it. What is the Sanskrit word for trustee? Nyasi. In Ayodhya also you will find Ayodhya trust Nyasis are there. Nyasi means trustee. In Sanskrit, if you do something very well, you add the prefix sam to it. So that Nyasi who does his work very well will be called what? Sannyasi. That mindset of a sannyasi who knows very clearly whatever is there belongs to the Lord. Then Bhagwan gives him some other instructions how to take care of kingdom. Now Bharatji has a strange desire. He says, Bhagwan, I want to see Chitrakoot a little bit. Those places where you have visited, where you have gone. Bhagwan says, you can go, but you have to take permission from Atri Rishi. He is the main Rishi over there. You have to take his permission, then go. Bharatji goes to Atri Rishi and he says, I want to see Chitrakoot. But most importantly, the water that I have brought, Rajyabhisheka water from 7 rivers, where should I keep it? Please tell me some place where I can very respectfully keep this water. Because sacred water brought from these rivers cannot be just abandoned somewhere. Atri Rishi takes him to one well and he says, put this water in this well. Bharatji says, what is the speciality of this well? He says, this creation runs in multiple cycles. This is not the only cycle of creation. Means what? In previous cycles, Ramavatara has happened. In every Ramavatara, every Bharata has placed Rajyabhisheka water here. Every cycle, different Bharatjis come. They try to convince Bhagwan to come back. And when he doesn't come, they take this Rajyabhisheka water and they place it there. So you also place it here. That place is very popular. It is called Bharata Kupa. It is still there, sacred spot. So he keeps that water there. And finally he says, Bhagwan, if I have to be there for 14 years, you have to give me something by which I can keep my mind on you. Bhagwan understands what he is asking, takes his padukas and gives it to Bharatji. very respectfully, he takes the padukas, and there is a beautiful description on how those padukas are appearing to Bharatji. He says, one is Ra, another is Ma. Or they look like the doors, two doors, for the supreme love of Bhagwan, which is kept in a safe. And he very respectfully brings those padukas. The paduka puja that we do today, the root of it is there. If you are unable to worship the Guru in physical form or in one place, the same benefit, same power is present in the padukas. So we worship the paduka as the Guru. So on the throne of Ayodhya, Bharatji kept the padukas. So king in his eyes was Bhagavan Rama. But day-to-day administration, very well he managed. And it is written here, 14 years when Bhagwan came back, Ayodhya was more prosperous than what he left. And he asks Vasishtha Maharshi, there is a deep desire in my heart to do some austerity. I want to live in the outskirt of Ayodhya in a village called Nandigrama. And if Bhagwan is walking on the ground, I have to sit below the ground. So he digs one small trench and sleeps there, sits there, does everything from that. And he asks Vasishtha Maharshi, can you give me permission to do this? Vasishtha Maharshi says, you need not ask me. Whatever you do, that will become dharma. You need not ask me what is dharma. Your mind is so pure, whatever you do, that becomes dharma. That will be the epitome for everybody to look up to. So with this, Bharatji continues to stay there and keeps doing his Nama Japa. Whenever he was in any doubt, he would ask the padukas. And those padukas would guide him what he should be doing. With this, we will conclude our Bharata Charitra. It started with Bharatji coming to Ayodhya. It beautifully ends with Bharatji taking the padukas there. We'll do one short Nam Sankirtan. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Shri Ram Jaya Ram Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Shri Ram Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Syamar Ramachandra ki jai, Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. We started this yajna by invoking Bhagwan's grace, Puja Gurudev's blessings. We should conclude it also invoking their grace and blessings. And may our devotion to Bhagwan keep growing more and more. Whichever text we have resonated with, whatever we have connected with, May our journey become more and more sweeter through that. My appreciation for all the sevaks who did such a wonderful job organizing this. It's a very blessed team that you have here in Pittsburgh. The temple is so beautiful, so nicely maintained. There is one shloka which Puja Guruji had composed, which is on the, most of the ashrams have it. Here also there must be. What is the purpose of a center? He said there are three purposes. One is, there should be study of Vedanta. Spiritually we should be growing in understanding ourselves. Second is, there should be worship of the Lord. Bhakti should grow. And third is, we should be inspired, engaged in Karma Yoga. And this place embodies that spirit so beautifully. All three of it is happening very nicely. Invoke Bhagwan's grace for that to continue. And my thanks to all our artists here, Sevaks and Sevikas. They did such a good job repeating. Ramcharitmanas, when you repeat, it has a lot of joy. Sheila-ji, Sujana-ji and Ganesh-ji, thank you. All the singers also who sang, and our Vishala-ji and Suresh-ji, so many of them are there. Satish-ji, Hari Om to everyone. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Machari, Sohamji, it's great gratitude and reverence that I stand here just to express our gratitude to Sohamji. He's making his first visit to Pittsburgh, and what a wonderful topic on Sri Bharata Charitra. This last 3 days was not just a 3-day discourse, but really a pilgrimage as we appreciated better the devotion and the incredible bhakti of someone like Bharata. And through it all, we saw examples of how we can also be better ourselves. Sohamji reminded us of what a bhakta can be, and that we can transform our lives by just by shifting our focus away from the material and towards Bhagwan, and therefore become a bhakta in whatever we do. That little shift makes all the difference in the world. Sohamji showed us through the example of Bharata how even in grief, even in sadness, we can remain devoted and stay true to wisdom and stay true to the values that our scriptures teach us so much. He taught us how Bharata can teach us how to be better sevaks. As members of Chinmaya Mission, we're all sevaks in some way. And yet I know that sometimes we let our egos and our pride get in the way, and we should follow the example of Bharata, living with humility, with a lack of pride, and doing everything that we do selflessly and as an offering to Bhagwan. Sohamji today beautifully shared that how when Bharata meets Bhagwan Rama, that everyone loses themselves and forgets that I or my. I would dare to say that that's how we felt listening to Sohamji speaking today and speaking these last few days on Sri Bharata Charitra. We all forgot about his I-ness and my-ness and only soaked in the beauty of Sri Bharata's devotion to Bhagwan Ram. And finally, another take-home point Sohamji shared is we are maybe the product or the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. This is all good information for us, and maybe our average went up just a little bit by our association with Sohamji over the last 3 days. Sohamji, thank you so much, and our immense gratitude to you. We soak not in your words, but in your just natural bhava as you're speaking about this topic. Thank you.
follow instructions.